Welcome to everyone. Candlelighting 6:34. Mincha today 6:35 p.m. Something related to that of your lulav to think about when it comes to making the blessing on your lulav. So we have a concern of over la'asiyasan, that whenever we make a blessing, and we have a question by Netilas Yadayim, but we have a question by all mitzvos, and that is when we fulfill a mitzvah, it should be over la'asiyatan, or it should be done. The blessing should be done before the mitzvah is actually fulfilled. That's in almost every case of a mitzvah. That's when you have your tefillin on, you're supposed to say the blessing right before you actually tie it. You don't want to tie it and then say the blessing. So then the mitzvah is coming after the bracha itself. So how do you do it with lulav and esrog? So there's three approaches as to how you do it with lulav and esrog. The classic approach that people are familiar with is you pick up your lulav and then you pick up your esrog upside down, and then you say the bracha, and then you turn your esrog right side up. What is upside down? Upside down means where you have the uketz, the part that connects to the tree, where that is facing upward, because that's not the way you want it as the regular way. What you want it is the pitom facing upward. So people always ask which is which. Figure it out, right? The part that cuts the tree, the people take it upside down, say the bracha, and then they flip it over, and then they shake it. That's the one approach that's taken. The Mishnah Berurah quotes three approaches. That's approach number one. Approach number two, quoted by the Shulchan Aruch, is that you hold a lulav bundle in your hand and you leave the esrog on the table. And maybe you'll have your hand on the esrog itself potentially, but you're not actually picking up the esrog yet. You'll say the blessing and then pick up the esrog in the normal fashion, and then you'll shake it. That's approach number two. Approach number three, quoted by the Vilna Gaon, is that no, you don't have to do either of those. You could, but what you should do is have in mind that the moment you pick it up, you don't want to fulfill the obligation with the lulav and esrog. You have what's called negative da'as. You have intention to not fulfill your obligation. I have intention to not be yotzei. So if when I pick it up, my intent is to not fulfill my obligation until I say the bracha, then, says the Vilna Gaon, that is the way that one should actually pick up the lulav and esrog. The Mishnah Berurah quotes that according to Vilna Gaon, he says that's the best way to do it. The Vilna Gaon has some other approaches to it, but that would be the three potential options. So even if a person doesn't pick it upside down, but he has in mind that he's not fulfilling his obligation until he makes the bracha, he will do it as well. Better, he will fulfill it in that scenario as well. So again, you have three approaches. One, leaving the esrog down while the lulav is in your hand. Two, and I would probably guess it also means you have your hand on the esrog, maybe even better without picking it up. Second one is our classical approach, and that is you pick up the esrog upside down, so it's not in the normal manner of which way you want to make the bracha. And third is have negative intent, that when you pick it up this way, or before I say the bracha, I don't want to fulfill the mitzvah until I actually say the bracha, and then I can actually fulfill the bracha that way. Once the bracha is said, now I shake it, that's when I want the mitzvah to initiate and to be fulfilled. These are three approaches quoted in the Mishnah Berurah.